IBM's comeback is in full swing as management retrenches into IT services demand, tapping into digital and cloud services and trying to streamline its offerings. Here's what IBM Vice Chairman Gary Cohn had to say about the turnaround in Davos.
I think Arvind has laid out a very distinct plan on revenue growth, on free cash flow growth, and he continues to execute upon his plan.
That comeback is not going unnoticed among investors. Joining us now is Lisa Ellis, SVB MoffettNathanson Analyst. Lisa, thanks so much for being here. And indeed, you upgraded IBM to market perform. Is it because you are seeing some of these efforts bearing fruit at the company sort of trying to refocus?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to give Arvind Krishna a huge amount of credit. He's been in the seat for about 3 years now, of course, having to deal right out of the gate with the pandemic. But has had a very clear vision since the beginning and has executed extremely well against that to simplify and streamline the offerings at IBM, divesting Kyndryl, which was their big structurally declining IT outsourcing business. They kind of got that anchor out of the portfolio. And then really importantly, between Red Hat and then opening up the services business, they've made IBM much more technology agnostic. They're working a lot more closely with many other technology providers in cloud, in digital, et cetera, which has helped to trigger the growth now in the company. They're more consistently growing revenues up in the low to mid single digits.
Lisa, how does a recession this year impact your thesis on IBM?
Look, they will not be immune to a slowdown in enterprise technology spending like anyone. They tend to actually be, though, a little bit defensive. They're tied to more non-discretionary spending in tech. And so, if you look back to how they've performed through past downturns, of course, they see a slowdown, but it's not as bad as you see in some more discretionary categories.
We've seen IBM really push the strategic imperatives, these big investments that they've been making in the business, and trying to shore up a portfolio of clients as well in tandem, whether that's anything from AI to blockchain. Do they double down on those investments at this point in time heading into a potential recession, or do they kind of pull back or just kind of remain business as usual, flat on those investments? And how would you evaluate them in that instance?
Yeah, they're doubling down in a couple of key areas. One, which has turned out to be one of the easier ones to execute, where they've done fantastically well, is actually in the remaining services business. This is the consulting business, where it's more nimble because they can move very quickly to work with new partners. And there's a lot of secular growth in that business associated with the adoption of cloud and digital amongst enterprises. And they're continuing to invest in that. A lot of that secular will continue right through any sort of recession. This is all the adoption of digital, like banks closing branches and moving things to mobile banking and online, that type of thing. In addition, over in the software division, as you said, they've really streamlined and focused, but AI and analytics, which has been a hallmark of IBM for decades, continues to be an area of focus for them.
And Lisa, just quickly, you sound pretty positive on IBM, and yet you just upgraded them to market perform. You didn't do a double upgrade to outperform. What do you still want to see from IBM that would tip you in that direction?
Yeah, look, they do still have a challenge, which is that much of the profit of the company is driven by their software businesses, many of which are still traditional software businesses, on-premise, license-based software businesses. And so while they're starting to grow, they're still, at some level, though, trading lower profit revenue for higher profit revenue that's bleeding off. So they have what I would call kind of tipped the Titanic a bit, gotten their head from below water to now above water. So they're moving in a good direction, but aren't yet in really a leadership position in either digital or cloud. They're just much more treading water, but still swimming upstream a bit.
Lisa, always appreciate some of the time, insights, analysis. Lisa Ellis, SVP, MoffettNathanson Analyst. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.